What's up, everybody? Brian LaLima trying to figure out his mic.
Yeah, great start.
Episode 3 here of Kicking It With Kunkel. We're going to talk all about the Astros. Brian, tell everybody who you are after you fix your mic.
Yeah, I'm going to try to figure that out. Brian LaLima, I'm a co-host of the Sean Salisbury Show on SportsTalk 790 every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on 790 a.m., or you can find us on the free iHeartRadio app.
There's 3 hot topic buttons right now. Jose Abreu, Alex Bregman, Joe Espada, and who's in charge, so 4.
Yeah.
Let's start with Jose Abreu.
Okay.
Because I think this is actually a fascinating discussion. And I don't think it's as clear-cut as everyone kind of acts like it is emotionally. And I think we'll look back in the next amount of weeks and say the answer was to do X or Y. But in the process, you don't really know. Like, this guy was really good last year in the postseason.
Yeah.
The postseason wasn't very long ago. He had 4 home runs in 13 games. He was one of the best hitters in baseball. So I don't think you can just quit on him. I don't think that locker room, that clubhouse, wants to see them just snip a guy like that because he's going through some struggles. And it seemed like a lot of it was mental. Like, you want a ball club that's going to have your back, kind of go like someone that's earned it in the big leagues, and help him out a little bit.
Yeah, this guy was an MVP at one point in the league when he was with the White Sox. And I think when you look at last year, there was a big part of his season where he struggled. Boom, they put him on the IL, and he had some back issues. He had some injections done, comes back from that, and pretty much from then on, he was really good. Second half, he was really good for the Astros. I think he finished the year with like 85 RBIs, 83 RBIs, with a super slow start, and then he carried it into the playoffs. Then this season, he's struggling mightily, but it's not the same type of struggle as last year. But if you remember when they sent him down to West Palm Beach, they gave him like 3 days off before they even said, hey, go out to the complex. They said, go down to Miami, spend time with your kids and your family and your wife, and just decompress. So that shows me that that's super a big relief for him, because it's more mental than – I mean, of course, like, there's – the bat speed was not good. Like, let's just call it like it is. When you're getting blown away by 89 and 90-mile-an-hour fastballs in the big leagues, like, that's a problem.
But I will say, like, watching him, knowing the game a little bit, his load, his time, everything did not match.
Yeah.
Like, everything was off. Every at-bat was different. It's like, if you play golf, you can't replicate a swing. You're not going to be good ever.
If you
can't replicate it in them bigs, you're not going to be
out.
any good.
Yeah.
So I think the mental part, like you're touching on, was so bad and was so big for him that they owed him as a human being to 2 weeks. Let's figure this out.
Yeah.
That's my take, and I think we're reaching the end of the road on this experiment, though, because you can't play that game forever. At some point, the rubber meets the road, and he's either in there or he's done.
But I wonder what the situation or scenario would be if the Astros, let's say, were 8 games above 500, leading the AL West like we're so accustomed to seeing here in the city of Houston. It would probably be the discussion of, like what we had last year with Martín Maldonado. Give us more Yonnier Diaz. Give us more Yonnier Diaz. Now it's Jose Abreu. You can't be in this lineup. Get him out of here. And then you got all these people saying DFA him. I don't like the whole DFA thing. Do I think he should be in the lineup? To me, no. I don't think I disagree either, because if you put him in, you got to put him in the middle to protect him and help him. Right, but I also don't like the fact that people are so quick to say, oh, just DFA him. We're talking about a big league guy that's going to lose his job, right? You never want to see a guy lose his job, but there's also the fact of, look, man, this is a business at the end of the day, and they have to win ball games, and they can't wait around. You can't say, oh, hey, well, let's see what he's like in August. Well, by August, you could either be 10 games out of the division, or you could be 15 games. Who knows? Or you could be closer. You just don't know right now. So you have to put your best lineup in, and for me, he's not in it. I'm sorry. I get the experiment, but you are coming, like you said, you are coming up on, all right, we either give this guy another week or 2, or we got to have a different type of discussion.
And the same thing with Alex Bregman. How do you think they're handling this situation?
Well, it's I think with what we see from Bregman is everyone talks about him being a notorious slow starter. Like, you see it every single year for whatever reason it is. And when we asked Dana Brown on our show on the radio on SportsTalk 790, like, he's always like, man, this guy's grinding at bats. He's doing this. He's doing that. His numbers in the 4-hole were awful this year. There's no sugarcoating it. But for whatever reason, when you get him out of the 4-hole and you put him in the 5-hole or the 6-hole, he starts to have way better at-bats. He barrels more baseballs. He drives more baseballs, more extra base hits, more RBIs. So I think for me, when I look at what he was doing in the 4-hole, it's not even close to what he was doing in the 5 or 6 hole. So why even put him in the 4-hole?
obviously Jose 1, Kyle 2, Jordan 3, who, by the way, that's another topic. He's not been very good.
Swinging it very well.
Like, Alex has been better than him in the last month of the season, and nobody talks about it. I know why, because it's emotional. He's their favorite player, and he's always really good. Therefore, he's earned that pass. But that's why you're losing.
Right.
Your 4-hole hitter, whoever it is, sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, and if like Jeremy Pena, the season that he's had, even though he's been kind of cold here against Seattle, he's had a really good season. The mechanics are completely different. He's quieted the hands down, and he's well above, or he was well above 300. So if you can get him to hit in the 4-hole, Alex Bregman in the 5 or 6-hole, or however you want to do it, and if it's successful, why change it?
Just keep it.
Just keep it.
Right.
Just keep it. You had a lineup when they hit that soft part of the schedule. You had a lineup that was Jose Altuve, Kyle Tucker, Yordan Alvarez, Jeremy Pena. I think Yanier was hitting 5, and then
Alex was 6, I believe, right? Yeah.
Whatever you want to do construction-wise between Yanier and Bregman in the 5 or 6-hole, the top 4 that I just named, keep it there. Mm-hmm. You could even move Kyle Tucker to the 4-hole and Jeremy Pena up to the 2-hole. Whatever the consistency is, just keep that. But for what, for some reason, we saw Bregman in the 5 or 6-hole for like a week, and he was moved right back up.
But again, Jordan's not hitting, so it's not like he's clearing the bases and Bregman's coming up to set him again.
The thing that sticks out to me the most about Jordan's at-bats is there are some at-bats he has where it's just like watch fastball, bingo, bango, bongo, you're done.
A lot of guessing.
Yes.
Like, if it's not what he's looking for, forget about it.
You're right. And normally with Yordan Alvarez, he has one of the best eyes in baseball. Mm-hmm. And we haven't seen that. I mean, fishing for balls on the outer half that aren't even close. Like, we're used to seeing Jeremy Pena swing at sliders off the outer half. It's not even close. And that's what we've seen from Jordan.
It's just inconsistency is the tail of a bad team at any level of any sport.
The Astros are headed for some really dangerous waters right now. Jose Urquidy and Christian Javier. Whatever the case is, me personally, I think both of them are going to be on the shelf for the rest of the season. That's just me. That could be a hot take, but I think both of them are going to be done. So what that's going to do is you're going to have Justin Verlander, Framber Valdez, Ronel Blanco, Hunter Brown, and Spencer Arrighetti. That's your 5-man rotation. Dana Brown and Joe Espada also talked earlier last week about wanting to go to a 6-man rotation. Who are you going to go to a 6-man rotation with? You're going to bring up Lauer from the minor leagues, who you just got from Milwaukee, and add him into a 6-man rotation or have spot starts? And then also you got to think about Ronel Blanco never had a full season in Major League Baseball, so the innings threshold is going to hit early. Same thing with Spencer Arrighetti. Hunter Brown struggled with it last year. Christian Javier struggled with it last year. Framber Valdez, who knows if he's even going to stay with the game plan because he's so up and down. You want me to keep going? These are some issues that are going to arise, and no one's really talking about it right now because everyone is so fixated on Jose Abreu and the offensive struggles. Let's say the offense figures it out.
Which they had at a stretch, and then they didn't have the pitching because of everything you just mentioned.
So now let's say that the offense figures it out, and we see some consistent at-bats, some consistent barrels, and they start to figure things out.
Well, Hunter's going to go the other way then.
Right. Somewhere down the road, man.
Justin's not going to be great every time. He's 41 years old in 100 days, as 101 days as this was released.
And when you get starts from him like last night where he goes 7 strong and strikes out 9 and you can only manufacture 1 run, and I get the Mariners have a really, really talented pitching staff, but to manufacture 1 run, you're never going to win games that way.
And this is a conversation that we're having about a team that's supposed to be, maybe not supposed to be, but is expected to be by their fans in the ALCS for an 8th straight year. This isn't a conversation about a team that hopefully wins the division, get in the playoffs, see what happens. This is about a team that has higher expectations. Yeah. So when you go through that starting rotation, that's not a World Series contending rotation right now.
It's not.
And these are not World Series contending at bats right now.
No, it's not. And I think what a lot of fans thought was that they would be back in the ALCS because they looked at the lineup. This lineup, the way that it's constructed on opening day, is better than it was last year, lineup-wise, hitting-wise.
Especially with Pena hitting.
Yes. And you have Jake Myers, who at one time, last week or week prior, was damn near the hitter of the month in Major League Baseball because of how well he was swinging it. So you have him added in as a bonus. And Yanier Diaz, everyone was screaming for Yanier Diaz to be the full-time catcher. He starts out hot, and now his at-bats are not very good. But you just look up and down the lineup. On paper, they are better than they were last year. And a lot of people, me included, I thought they were good. I thought they would have enough to get at least back to the ALCS. So the World Series, not sure, because I thought the Mariners got better with their pitching staff, And then who knows what the Yankees – I mean, obviously the Yankees are really good, but who knows what their second half could look like. I thought the Yankees would be right there. I thought the Mariners could be right there, and I thought the Astros could be right there to get to the World Series. And right now, they can't even get back to 500.
How much do you blame Joe Espada for what's happening?
This is a loaded question.
It is, because I don't think it's an easy there's a pie chart, and that pie chart's got like 19 different colors on it to me.
So I think Joe Espada, my concern for Joe Espada when he was hired was, why did he have several interviews with several other clubs and never hired? That was always my concern and my question. Guy's been around baseball forever, and he was with the Yankees. He's been with the Astros as the bench coach. But when you take that jump and you go from a bench coach to being the guy, it's not easy. Mm-hmm. It's not easy. And then you have to think about, where do the analytics come into play? Where does the front office come into play? Because the speculation was Dusty Baker and the front office didn't see eye to eye. Dusty Baker would run with his own lineup and really kind of take what the front office would say with a grain of salt and still put together his own lineup. Again, that's just speculation. I'm not saying I know it, know that's a confirmed thing or whatever, but just so many different things you hear over 162 games is what we heard last year. So now I think with Joe Espada, like, we're seeing he's a rookie manager. He's going to make mistakes. He's not going to make the right moves. But I also, my opinion, think that there's too much buddy-buddy, if you will. I think maybe there's not an edge there where they think, Joe's going to, rip into me and I'm going to be moved in the lineup or things like that, compared to what you had with Dusty. I feel like there was a respectful – I don't even know if respectful fear is the correct word.
I think fear is the right word.
Okay, so respectful fear.
It's like God, right? Like, you fear God from a standpoint of respect.
Yes.
Like that's how
so I
you
think
need
that's,
to look at your manager.
And I think that's how he commanded his clubhouse, Dusty Baker. And we can complain about the inconsistency with the lineup all we want, but yet at the end of the day, they respectfully fear Dusty Baker. And I don't know if that's the case here right now. I just think maybe a little bit of it is buddy-buddy. And there's also, what's the relationship with the front office? Let's
stick with the lineup right now, because, again, different topic, but hot topic, and yeah. I agree. How much has Joe been let down by the fact that Mauricio Dubon gets hot, but then, he can't maintain that? Chas McCormick has 22 home runs last year. You want to get him going. Alex Bregman, you got to get him going. He can't. Jose Abreu sent down to Florida.
Yeah.
You put in your 7, 8, 9 guys with Brian Abreu, Ryan Presley, and Josh Hader, and they're terrible to start the season. You push all the right buttons that you're supposed to push, that you and I would push. It does not take a genius. He does them, and they don't work. Yeah,
that's what people have to remember is, like, at the end of the day, it's about player execution.
Right.
Your pitchers have to make the pitches. Your hitters have to get things done at the plate. Whether it's have a good at-bat, hit a ground ball to the right side and move the Manfred man over in extra innings. At the end of the day, the players have to execute.
Listen, I think Joe Espada is an awesome dude. I think he might be a good manager. Right now, I think he's learning. I think he's learning on the job with a team that's struggling, that has high expectations, which is a really tough spot to be in.
Yeah, and it also doesn't help that he's got injuries galore. Injuries, and you have a 7, 8, 9 that was labeled as the best back end of the bullpen in baseball.
They've been average. I did this on the show last night. They have 9 saves on the season. They have 10 blown saves.
10 blown saves, yeah.
They have more blown saves than saves. The only team in Major League Baseball that's got that same ratio, the Marlins.
Oh,
trash.
Wow. And the Marlins are awful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
if you take that pie chart that I mentioned, player execution, rookie manager, injuries, not playing, like, guys, just mental head case, like, things like that pie chart looks like a daggone rainbow.
Yeah, the player execution is a bigger –
It's a huge chunk.
It's a big chunk.
Because he's forced to make moves due to players not performing.
Right. And then,
he's reactive, not proactive, and changes.
Yeah.
Like Bregman. Bregman's a solid top 4 guy every single year.
Yep.
Well, he's not now. So now what? You got to react.
Yeah. And the Jose Abreu situation, I think, is a little out of his hands, in my opinion.
I agree entirely.
Yeah. So I think he's being pressed with that as well. And that's not on Joe Espada. How can you – again, I don't know the relationship between the front office and Joe Espada. So if Joe Espada doesn't want him in the lineup and he doesn't have him in the lineup, is someone coming down and saying, no, we need him in the lineup? My opinion, it could be happening. And now, again, like, I hate – and this is like one of the things that I've noticed over probably the last week with everything going on with the Astros, it always reverts back to Jose Abreu. And I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but another concern for me is he's sent down to West Palm for what? 3 weeks? A month?
Mm-hmm. 3 weeks, I think it was. Yeah.
3 weeks.
Yep.
They bring him back up and automatically put him in the lineup against the Mariners pitching staff. Mm-hmm. You're setting the man up for failure.
He had 3 games with Sugarland.
Right.
3 games with Sugarland.
At-bats weren't very good.
Nope.
Struck out on a pitch clock violation. I mean, come on, man. You know what I mean? Like, so then he gets thrusted right back in the lineup and against the Seattle Mariners pitching staff. That's not – there's no way –
But if he's there, you have to give him at-bats, right? Isn't that the reason he's there? He's there to get at-bats and get out of the funk, and there's no way he's getting out of it by taking some dry swings in the cage.
Why not?
I'm not saying it's the right move, but
no.
If he's there, you have to play him, right?
Yeah,
generally
unfortunately.
speaking.
Because why not send him with the Corpus Christi Hooks for a week, then send him with Sugarland for a week, and then bring him back up this coming weekend for the homestand and play him on Sunday?
I'll bet you if they did that, he walks in the Minute Maid, the crowd goes nuts. And in a positive way.
Probably.
I fully believe that because I think the crowd has learned, the fans have learned that Jose's not trying to suck.
No, absolutely
and this has
not.
broken his heart. It's broken his soul. It's broken his spirit. He talked about it in Sugarland, and it is horrible for him. And then I talked to Joe a little bit about this. I said, this is tough for you too. He's like, this is horrible for me.
Yeah.
Like I have to make some horrible decisions about a guy that's struggling so poorly mentally.
Yeah.
Not just like, hey, let's look at the swing path. Let's look at where is the barrel in the zone for long. It's nothing like that.
So then my question comes up is, when are you going to cut ties?
That's why I agree with you. It's not his call.
How long are we going to let this go?
Whose call is it? Who has the final say of things with the Astros right now?
Jeff Bagwell.
Over Jim Crane?
I think so. No, not over Jim Crane. No,
okay.
God, no.
Well, does Jim Crane ask Jeff Bagwell what to do, or does Jeff
so.
Bagwell tell Jim Crane what to do?
I think it's a little of both.
Yeah. And is it on everything? So, for instance, I think with the Jose Abreu thing, it's Jeff Bagwell.
It's purely Jeff Bagwell.
I think with the lineup thing, it's Joe Espada.
Yeah, I think it's more Joe Espada. I think Jeff Bagwell has a heavy influence with Jose Abreu, and probably some of the other hitters.
I think Jim Crane says, just get it done. Figure it out. We're paying this guy $9.5 million. I don't care what it looks like. Get it done.
Yeah, and you got to also remember, Jim Crane is a very, very smart businessman. He made every dollar he has made every dollar on his own. He didn't inherit anything. Everything is purely made on himself. So at the end of the day, he is going to make the best and most frugal financial decision. And if that's giving Jose Abreu more run to try to make it worth that $19.5 million for this year, then you're going to continue to see Jose Abreu.
Like, you're running out of time.
Yeah.
And we don't really know what this team even is. It's not a matter of hitting their stride at this point.
No, it's not.
And now Joe's in a position where if you're hitting, you're in. At that, now he's got to play that card. He has to, in my opinion. I don't care who you are, what your back of your baseball card says, trigger word.
It is a trigger word, dude. Look, it's production over man, now I'm drawing a blank because of that damn word. Production over potential. There's a potential of Jose Abreu.
Potential is synonymous with getting your ass kicked every single night, as John Marks of the Chicago Blackhawks would say that. Yeah, sure.
Oh, we can't.
I don't see why not.
I don't know if it was FCC.
No,
or
I
not,
think we're good on that.
Okay,
we're about
cool.
to find out.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, I just think
potential means nothing.
Who's producing the most right now? That's who should be in the lineup
every single night. You went 2 for 4 last night. You're in. Over 4, you're out. 2 for 4, in.
I'm with you.
But that's not a place you can't manage a ball team that way. But you're forced to.
Well, now you don't
have a choice.
There's no time
because baseball is a 162 game season. You got to be like this. You can't be like this at the same time. You can't just be like this down low the whole time and then hope. Oh no, I hope potential. Well, eventually, no, dude.
That's where that back of the baseball card, send that damn thing and kick it out a mile away.
That's a Jeff thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Because then Joe said it when I asked him about
Dana Brown says it quite a bit.
So they all say it.
Yeah, so obviously that's coming from somewhere.
So it's in the office when they're talking.
And it goes right back to...
Who do you think said it first?
I think Jeff Bagwell said it first. And you know what? Another thing, and I know you're not from here, Jeff Bagwell is like royalty around here.
Oh, no, shoot. I played fantasy baseball in the early 90s. Like, that dude was on my team.
You know, him and Craig Biggio are royalty around here.
Absolutely.
Killer bees, right? Like, he is getting so much, I wouldn't say hate, but like...
Is Jeff Bagwell ruining his reputation around here?
Yes, absolutely. In my opinion, yeah. He ruined it for me. Dude, I grew up watching this man. I'm from here. I grew up here. Dude, my dad used to take me to games in the Astrodome. Like, I still have Killer Bee posters somewhere in my storage unit. I have Bagwell jerseys. I have Biggio jerseys. Like, the Killer Bees were everything for me growing up, and for all my buddies too. And now, like, in my opinion, he is making moves or going to whoever will listen to him and forcing moves that should not be made. They didn't have a GM when he was helping out decisions, and it was Jim Crane, Jeff Bagwell, Reggie Jackson, Craig Biggio, and then the assistant GMs making decisions. Well, they signed Rafael Montero to a pretty lucrative contract that hindered them from retaining guys like Ryan Stanek, Phil Maton, Hector Neris, that contract, and then obviously signing Jose Abreu. I think at the time, everybody kind of thought, oh, man, former MVP coming down to help this lineup. Wow, you're going to have Jose Abreu hitting in your 5 or 6 hole. Like, man, that's a really good signing. But then you saw the money come, and you're like, whoa, this dude's about to be 37, 36, 37, and 38 when the contract's over, and we're paying him how much?
And he was on the back end in Chicago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then who was helping out? And the only reason people knew that is because back then Jeff Bagwell was stepping in front of TV cameras in the media scrum, and he was talking about the moves. So then people started to talk. Oh, Jeff Bagwell's being the GM. Oh, Jeff Bagwell's doing this. Jeff Bagwell's doing that. And now, of course, Jose Abreu's struggling, and who's getting the blame? It's Jeff Bagwell.
Do you think Dana Brown's the general manager at all?
I do, but I think there's certain things that that Jeff Bagwell has more of a say on, like the Jose Abreu thing.
This is how I view it. I think Dana Brown is the general manager for all the things that Jeff Bagwell doesn't understand and doesn't care to understand, like middle relief and fill-in guys. But
yeah.
Jeff Bagwell's got his guys. He believes in his guys, and that's when he speaks up, and that's when Jim Crane listens, and that's when it gets down to Jeff.
Yeah.
Or to Joe. And then that's when you have too many cooks in the kitchen, and it's not even symmetrical. Sometimes I'll chime in on this entree. Sometimes I'll be the sous chef. Sometimes I'll chime in on this, and then all of a sudden it's just a mess. And the reason they're losing right now, inconsistent hitting and inconsistent pitching.
Yeah.
It's why every baseball team loses.
Yeah.
No team loses because their long relief isn't good. It's not used often enough. Like, you don't lose 12 games because of that. You lose because your top 5 guys aren't playing good baseball and your starting pitching isn't consistent. All right, last question.
Yeah.
Are the Astros going to make the playoffs?
Oh, man. This is going to pain me to say it. No. I don't think so.
I don't know how they do mathematically. And I don't they have to jump 3 teams at this point, win their division. Maybe they can sneak in the wild card.
You would have to win.
Man, you got to play some really good baseball all of a sudden.
You would have to win what? Like 60,
like 68% of your games.
60. I was going to say 63% of your games. So that probably closer to 70% of your games.
Something wild. Listen, man.
The you know this as well as I do. Hitting comes and goes.
Mm-hmm.
Hitting is contagious, and it's contagious as if there are bad at bats, it can trickle all the way through the lineup.
I know you're going with this, and I agree entirely.
I think the lineup will get figured out.
Yep.
But I think the bigger issue is going to be Christian Javier and Jose Urquidy.
And defense.
If you can't get those guys in your starting rotation, that's like I said earlier, the Astros are headed for some really rough waters. I'm telling you. Because you are going to, again, I'll reiterate it, Arrietty's going to hit that innings threshold just like Christian Javier did, just like Hunter Brown did. Ronel Blanco is, 30, right?
Mm-hmm. And he's never done this.
He's never done this. He's going to hit it as well. Who knows what Frommer's going to be like? Justin Verlander, I think, will be the most consistent out of them all. And then, again, how long can a 5-man rotation go? All season? Every year the Astros at some point go to a 6-man rotation.
You have guys that are the oldest pitcher in the league, and you have guys that have never pitched 150 innings in a year. So,
and who are you going to count on to come up?
6-man is necessary, and you don't have 6 men.
Who are you going to count on to come up from AAA? Blair Henley? Right. He was the Pacific Coast Player of the Month. Good for him, but you saw what happened when he came. And actually, that's not fair because he got let know he had notice like 6 hours before. Hey man, drive on up.
These guys you're talking about, to your point, what you just said is who you're going to count on.
Right.
So you're going to call up a guy to fill in to count on. That's not fair to them.
Right.
Brian, you're the man.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, man. It's fun.
What's your X account?
It's B Lima 790.
All right. Follow
X.
him.
I was like, X, what is that? Twitter?
I'm trying hard, yeah.
Twitter, man.
I'm trying to do it for Elon.
Yeah.
We're really tight friends, so
Oh, yeah.
I'm just trying to help Elon.
Yeah, I'm not going to – I know what you drive.
Uncle
so
Musk.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, at BLima79 is me on Twitter.
All right. This is Kicking It With Kunkel. Appreciate you guys chiming in once again. Comes out every Friday on Fox Local.